Hi, I'm Karen Kubicko, and today we're going to talk about healing a medical thing through past life regression. So, when I first started getting into and studying and learning about past life regression work, I was on a mission to learn some psychic things and to try to really understand them, because of what I was told by a psychic that I needed to help my child to learn and understand their psychic abilities. So I wasn't really looking into it for myself per se, but more so to help my child to understand their gifts and talents. But I came across this book about children who can remember past lives, and I was like, oh, perfect. And the author, she talked about her own personal experience on having a breathing issue, remembering a few past lives, and then healing from that breathing issue. At this time in my life, I was suffering from a lot of asthmatic related things. I had been taking a ton of medicine for a lot of years and trying to just maintain it or control it. I mean, it was exasperating. You know, you get behind a truck or a bus and they'd have the fumes, I'd have an asthma attack. God forbid I walked into a smoky something and it would be like I'd be a mess. I'd have to leave. I couldn't breathe. Anytime I would get a cold, it would turn into bronchitis or pneumonia. I mean, just all that, inhalers all the time, lots of different kinds of medication just to maintain it. It was exasperating. So my heart goes out to those who have these issues. And I'm not saying that this is going to help you either. That is really up to you and your journey. But I can explain to you how it helped me. And I have other examples of other people that have had some type of healing through just remembering things, whether it's other health related stuff, pains and aches, all kinds of random things you can't explain. So you take a deep dive into the root cause of that, into a past life, see where that's at, do the healing work. But anyway, so what I did is I was inspired by her and the lady who wrote the book about the children's past lives. And I thought, well, if she can heal from that, then I can too. And so with that as my motivation, I really started learning more and more about past life regression. I learned more about my own past lives. I learned more about how to help other people remember past lives. And, you know, through doing that, a majority of the past lives that I talk about in my first book, I mean, there's 16 of them in here, and almost every one of them has some kind of trauma to the chest or the throat or the head, somewhere in this upper area where I wasn't able to breathe or I was knocked unconscious or whatever. It was just quite a bit. And so that, you know, was quite the journey that I had taken. I mean, I started remembering things, gosh, it seems like forever ago, but the first lifetime that I remembered was of this guy, and he was not able to breathe. He was dying of like a pneumonia issue in that past life that I had. I was a man, not very scrupulous. He was kind of a jerk, actually, which was really hard to remember that lifetime just because of that. And it was that whole feeling of feeling unwanted in that past life by the folks that were in and around me during that time. And so I was removed from the city that I had loved and tried my hardest and gave my life to working towards building up. And in that lifetime, I was stabbed in my lungs, and then I was dying of a pneumonia issue. So fast forward into this lifetime, I'm having breathing issues. And it's funny because it kind of started happening right around the same age that I believe I was in that past lifetime. So, and then in this lifetime, I started coming up again having feelings of feeling unwanted by random people and the person I was with at the time and all that kind of stuff. And so, you know, that really is in line with your heart chakra. And your heart chakra is connected to your lungs. And so when I remember the lifetime, literally while I'm in the hospital, not even being able to breathe, to the point where I couldn't even complete a sentence. And I'm talking one word at a time, taking a breath, another word, taking a breath. I learned how to text because I had not done that before that day. And I spent about a week in the hospital, and during that time I had a very vivid recollection of the connection between that lifetime as that man who was unable to breathe and my lifetime now, where I was being subjected to this I couldn't breathe feeling. And so all that made complete sense, to the point where I had what psychologists would call cathartic, I can't even say the word, catharsis. And so catharsis is where you have a memory of something, and then in a more mature, different perspective view, you can be like, oh, that makes complete sense why that happened, and heal from it. So that worked for me, that happened for me. And then within a few days after remembering that, I left the hospital, and with working with my doctor over the next several months, I started decreasing the amount of medication that I was taking with asthma. And I really had to come to the awareness that I was healed enough in myself and believed in that strongly that I no longer needed those medications. And that was in 2010 that I was in the hospital in the fall. And by January of 2011, I no longer took any medication for asthma. And so here we are, 10 years later, I still haven't had an issue. So I'm pretty excited about that. I had spent more than a decade taking asthmatic related medications to control it, and then today to have not even have an issue, it's an amazing thing. So with that, I hope that I inspire you to do some really hardcore, deep inner work to find your root cause for anything that's bothering you in this lifetime, to see why that's happening, where that's stemming from, maybe what chakra that's related to, and doing any kind of forgiveness work that's connected to that. Lots of love to you. Remember to hit that like button, subscribe, and follow me, and leave me a comment if you have any questions that you'd like me to address in a future video.